This video follows on from the last video. Simultaneous equations can also be solved using something called the substitution method. Now, there'll be situations you might be in where the simultaneous equations you get given, they're not in an easy format to do the elimination method. You might notice here, these look quite different. If you would rather only stick with the elimination method, you can rearrange these equations into that form and it would work. I prefer the substitution method personally. I find it really useful. The way we want to solve it is, again, we kind of want to get rid of one of the variables, but the way we do it instead is using substitution. So you might notice this top equation here is fairly similar to the previous examples we were doing in the elimination method. However, this one gives us almost a statement. It just says that y is equal to something. We have a y in our first equation. The whole point of the substitution method is we can use this bottom equation and substitute it into that top equation. So, how would this look? We can have 2x plus, and rather than y, we're just going to have 2x plus 6 because y equals 2x plus 6. And just like that, we've eliminated y. So we can solve it just like any old equation. So 2x and 2x, we can collect these terms up here, make 4x. We've got plus 6 equals 10. We can subtract 6 from both sides, leaving us with 4x equals 4. So x must be equal to 1. Again, just like previous examples, you substitute in that x equals 1 into one of the original equations and you will get your answer. Now, because we want to work out y, I'm going to use that bottom equation. We can say y equals 2 lots of 1 plus 6. Now, 2 lots of 1 is 2, plus 6, y must equal 8. And again, you can substitute in the x and the y into the original equations just to prove that your answer is correct. Okay, that is the first example. Now, if we have a look at our second example, you can see we have something that looks a little bit more complicated. So, x squared plus y squared equals 5, and x plus y equals 1. We want to do a fairly similar thing to what we did in the first question. However, you might notice that the second equation is not in that form of y equals something just yet. So what we're going to have to do is rearrange that one around so that we can have it in that way. So we want y equals something. The only thing stopping that is a plus x on the left hand side. So we want to subtract x from both sides, and that will leave us with 1 minus x. Now we have it in this form, we can simply substitute this equation into the top one, leaving us with x squared plus, instead of that y squared, we're going to have 1 minus x squared equals 5. If we expand out that bracket, we're going to have something that looks a bit like this. And using the double claw method, we have 1 minus 2x plus x squared. If you aren't too sure on how I expanded that double bracket, I've made a video on that explaining that in a lot more depth. So go ahead and find that one if you want. Equals 5. So we can collect up our terms, and also we don't want this 5 on the right hand side, so we can subtract 5 on both sides, and that will leave it in terms of 0 on the other side. So 2x squared minus 2x, and then if we take away 5, that's going to leave us with minus 4 equals 0. So because we have a quadratic, that is going to leave us with two solutions. We need to factorize this quadratic to basically work out the solutions. So because we've got a 2x squared, we know that this is going to be a 2x and an x. And we have to think of the ways you can make minus 4. Now, the best bet is to use 4 and 1. Through practice, I can see this a bit more clearly. But we're going to have 2x minus 4 and x plus 1. Because you can double check this. If we were to expand it out, we would be left with minus 2x minus 4 for these two terms, which is what we want. Now, just by solving these like before, we're going to have x equals 2 and x equals -1 as our two solutions. Now, just like with the previous examples, if we've got the x variable, we can substitute it in to give us the y variable. Now, we know using this equation up here, that x plus y must equal 1. If I bring that down here a bit more, if we substitute in each x variable, it will give us the corresponding y solution. So if x is 2, we're going to have 2 plus y equals 1. So y here must be -1. And if x is -1, then we are going to have -1 plus y equals 1. So y is going to be 2. And they are your two solutions. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope that helped.